Doc Rivers was the consultant and now he's the head coach, I mean, 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah, partially functional. Half of me is comfortable. The other half is close to the cliff, like Mrs. Huxtable. These boys got them hostess and clips. They pack like Lunchables, like what?
What's up, YouTube? So, the past couple days, we've had a lot going on. We've had Terry Rozier. He's going to Miami Heat, and he's going to play with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and the crew. And he's going to be immersed in the new Miami Heat culture. He's a perfect fit. The way he plays, just from looking at him, he has that kind of edge to him.
Dog. What? Dog on their shirt.
And Miami's looking to add more edge all the time to their team. And that's what makes them so formidable and always a wild card in the East. So the Terry Rozier pickup was a great one. The other night we had Joel Embiid on the same day as Kobe Bryant. When Kobe Bryant dropped 81 points, Joel Embiid decides to drop 70 points, 18 rebounds, and 5 assists. And with that kind of stat line, it's absolutely ridiculous and historic. And only a few players have ever been able to drop that kind of stat line. He did it against the Spurs, but at the same time, 70 is 70, so it doesn't matter. And Wembanyama also dropped 33 points, but it was completely overshadowed by Joel Embiid, obviously. But the biggest thing I want to get into is the Milwaukee Bucks decided to fire Adrian Griffin. Now, I believe this was a calculated move because reports now report that Doc Rivers was hired by the Milwaukee Bucks. And Doc Rivers was a consultant for this team. He was always kind of putting his input on what the team should do. He got to know the players, obviously, if he was able to put his input on different things about the team. Adrian Griffin from jump, when he was first coaching this team, was already meant to be just the interim coach. I mean, he got the head coach title, but the Milwaukee Bucks weren't looking to keep him the whole time. Doc Rivers was the consultant and now he's the head coach. I mean, 1 + 1 = 2. I mean, I believe Doc Rivers was meant to be the Milwaukee Bucks head coach. Now, what does this mean for the Milwaukee Bucks? I believe the Milwaukee Bucks now have a defensive coach that will get them to play better defense. Right now, the Milwaukee Bucks are ranked 22nd in the NBA in terms of defense. Doc Rivers brings them an edge of where they'll start playing defense because of him. The Milwaukee Bucks are really good offensively because of Dame and Giannis spearheading that offense because of their talents and what they do individually as players. They haven't been blowing out teams because of their defense. They give up way too many points. Teams are able to stay in the games with them, and this is why most people are off the Milwaukee Bucks, because they can't play defense. They can't guard a parked car. But Doc Rivers changed that.
Oh my God! Are you serious? He still can't guard me!
Changes that. The only issue with Doc Rivers is Doc Rivers the past 2 or 3 years has jumped from the 76ers to the Clippers, and each time he's been fired by those teams, and mainly because he has a bad history of losing games in the clutch. Doc Rivers has now given up 3-1 leads to the opposite teams in the playoffs, and that just cannot fly, and it doesn't look good as a head coach. We all respect Doc Rivers because he won that championship with the Boston Celtics, with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and the crew, but there's an issue with him in terms of closing games in this modern day era, and that's the biggest problem with Doc Rivers and the biggest question with him. But do I believe Doc Rivers will be a great coach for them? Yeah, I think he will. But I also think, too, this will be his last coaching job if he does not perform well with this team. So Doc Rivers is on thin ice almost. He has to look to perform. And the Milwaukee Bucks are looking for him to be that head coach and be that leader in the locker room for them so the Bucks can win a championship. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are trying to figure out how to get Giannis and Dame and the rest of the crew to mesh together, because there's been locker room problems and reports on different things where the players aren't listening, where not everyone's on one accord. That reason alone is a glaring reason why Milwaukee Bucks are not championship, contention rating, or in terms of the higher end of it. They're more on the backside of it. Because when you look at teams, people even pick the 76ers, Boston Celtics. And I'm saying people. I see comments, I see other videos, I see other opinions from First Take, from podcasts. But I'm also basing this on my own assessment as well, too. And my own assessment is they just need to play more defense. They'll pick it up. I've always said, and I think they'll pick it up. And by the time playoffs come, they'll be on track to be this championship contender team. But Doc Rivers also scares me a little in terms of his most recent history when it most matters. And it's going to be difficult and interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out with Doc Rivers, Giannis, Dame, Brook Lopez, and the whole Milwaukee Bucks organization. I believe the Milwaukee Bucks organization isn't done necessarily yet. This kind of points towards, for me at least, what I see. I believe they're looking to make another pickup in terms of maybe another defensive player. It was a bold move to fire Adrian Griffin when they're second in the East. So, yeah, but I believe at the end of the day, in my opinion, Doc Rivers is a great pickup for him. He just needs to make sure that he can win the most crucial games for him, and also spearhead and put defense in the back of their minds and effort in the back of their minds so this team can play defense and start beating teams that they should beat by multiple point digits, not like just a very close game, because that wears the players out. It forces your stars to be in longer than you need them to be in. So, yeah, I do believe Doc Rivers can fix that situation, and hopefully that combination meshes well. So let me know your thoughts on the hire on Doc Rivers and the fire on Adrian Griffin. Again, I believe it's a great pickup for him, but a very bold one. So let me know your thoughts. And until next time, Milos out. Peace.
Woke up just thinking about copping that spider. Walking right in and pull out with a title. Wanna lit like a lighter. Popping my shit, make these niggas don't like us. Yeah, we like disciples. On top of your roof, you can see all the snipers. Feeling me, this not a cipher.